What's up, NFL fans? Sorry I haven't made a video for much of actual free agency, but the dust has all settled basically, and we have a pretty good understanding of what this team is going to look like, other than the draft, obviously. But that's why I think it's a great time to talk about the off season and things to watch for next season. And there's a couple things, but so let's just jump right into it. The biggest news, but also kind of a nothing news, is we have a new quarterback. We got Justin Fields, $40 million for 2 years, so $20 million a year is not bad at all for a quarterback on in this NFL in this market. And it's just a 2 year commitment as well. You know, we've had Aaron Rodgers. We have a bunch of money that we owe him, even though he's not on the team anymore. I don't even fully understand that situation, if I'm being honest. But we have a much cheaper quarterback, um, and who doesn't really mess with our cap. And he's very much a bridge quarterback, but also kind of a prove it quarterback. He was pretty good when he was a starter with the Steelers, but they wanted to start Russell Wilson, and they did. Um, but he was a solid quarterback. So this 2 year deal, if he's mid, okay, oh well, it's just 2 years. If he's bad, oh well, just 2 years. We can draft another quarterback, and then if he's good, then it's like, oh, we have this pretty good quarterback on a pretty solid deal. So I don't hate this move at all. It kind of is just let's wait and see what he actually does on the field. Um, you know, here are his numbers. Played 4 years. He was a backup last year. He got a decent amount of playing time. So these are the numbers, and definitely a bridge quarterback. But he's also pretty young, right? If he was on the Bears this entire time, he would just be entering his 5th year option. So you know, it's not like he's some veteran quarterback, right? Typically, a veteran quarterback is a bridge quarterback, not a young guy with not a lot of experience. Um, so I don't hate this move at all. I think it's a fine move, and it gives the Jets time to reassess their roster, I suppose. So is it gonna? That's why I made the joke about it's the biggest news, but also it's the nothing news for the Jets because is it gonna steal headlines and stuff? Is it gonna put us in prime time? Absolutely not. But after the past couple of seasons, I think lots of Jet fans are okay with that. He's just an okay quarterback. He's still young, so he could still become something. Or if he doesn't, oh well, just 2 years. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't set us back like Aaron Rodgers has. I think almost more importantly than Justin Fields is what Justin Fields means for our current players, most notably Garrett Wilson. Um, he was reported to have some problems with Aaron Rodgers. He was perhaps rightfully so upset that he wasn't being treated as the number one wide receiver. Devontae Adams got a lot of throws. Where maybe Devontae Adams wasn't that open and Garrett Wilson was open. So he was a little upset with that. There was rumors that, we have to trade Garrett Wilson, which I would not have liked. He's our homegrown wide receiver. But then bringing in his college quarterback, Justin Fields, all of those rumors are gone. And it seems to be, he's here. Garrett Wilson is going to be here, and perhaps you can leverage Justin Fields to get a team-friendly contract from Garrett Wilson, because all of our young guys, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, they're all due for contract soon. So perhaps you can leverage Justin Fields to get a more team-friendly contract. Garrett Wilson seems to want to be here again. All that drama is gone, so it will be interesting to see. And then also with his numbers, he's been a very good wide receiver, pure numbers wise, but he hasn't been like a great wide receiver. I play fantasy football, so I remember last year before the season started, it's like, oh, Garrett Wilson's a top 5 receiver that you have to draft. He definitely did not pan out that way. He was solid, but he should not have been drafted highly in fantasy leagues. And he just hasn't had that explosive year yet, except for, he's had 1,000-yard receiving. uh, every year, so that's pretty good. And two of those years with Zach Wilson, one of those years was with Aaron Rodgers. So it's he's been good, but he hasn't had an explosive year. So what I'm watching this year is he going to have an explosive year? He kind of has that chemistry that with his quarterback now, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are gone, and are Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields. So I'm looking for him to have an explosive year. And then we also have to think about his contract because that he's played 3 years. He has one more year and then the fifth year option. So we do have to be thinking about that. Another person to watch, Breece Hall. Um, he's been a solid running back, but last year particularly the Jets threw the ball a lot. They didn't run the ball a lot, and I think that kind of hurt his numbers. The Jets have a lot of younger running backs that are trying to be the guy, and so Brees Hall, once again, kind of also with fantasy football, similar to Garrett Wilson's like, oh, Brees Hall is like a top 5 player you need to draft. He definitely did not pan out to be that. So there's always the expectation that he's going to have an explosive year, but he hasn't yet. And so that's something we need to watch. Gone is Aaron Rodgers and the guy who gets to say that we're passing the ball every single play. And now we need to see, is Brees Hall's numbers going to go up and going to be the guy we think he should be. And then the reason I put Saquon Barkley in there is, as well as last year, the running back market was terrible. And in fact, you probably should not. Everyone is saying you shouldn't re-sign your running backs. You should always draft a running back and have them for 4 years. That narrative has completely changed. So now the Jets are probably looking to re-sign Breece Hall. And that's important to know because similar to Garrett Wilson, he's got only 1 year left on his deal. And then here are his numbers as well. And, good numbers, but nothing explosive. He's never been 1,000-yard rusher. He does get involved in the pass game, but he's never been 1,000-yard rusher. And that's not what we expect from him. We expect him to be a top 5 running back or top 10 running back. Those expectations were before a bunch of running backs who were seen to be washed became really good again. But I would like to see more from him, I guess. Gone is Aaron Rodgers and pass it every play. I want to see Breece Hall's numbers go up, and if they don't, maybe you don't re-sign him. You don't lock yourself into a big contract because the running back market is going to be super big now. So the Jets are going to have to dish out a lot of numbers to keep him. And maybe this is not the time to do it since he really hasn't had a big year. Or maybe he does have a big year with Justin Fields at quarterback. And then it's like, okay, now we do want to keep him. So he's just another guy to keep an eye on. And then completing the trio of guys to keep an eye on is Sauce Gardner. DJ Reed is gone. Our secondary is completely obliterated in free agency. And so now Sauce Gardner, he's been the guy. I'm not trying to discredit anything he does, but he's going to have to take another step up. He's going to have to be absolutely 100% the guy. Watching the game, sometimes DJ Reed did play better than him. I feel like DJ Reed would get penalized a lot more than Sauce Gardner just because he's a smaller name. But sometimes DJ Reed played better than Sauce Gardner. And that's important to note because Sauce Gardner is supposed to be a top 5, top 3 cornerback. That's the expectation with him. There's a lot of hype. And he has been a really good cornerback. And then he sometimes runs into a referee who won't respect his big name, and he'll get a lot of penalties in a game. So it's weird. I find running cornerback. I think I said running back. Cornerbacks. I find cornerbacks a little hard to evaluate. And then just watching the game, sometimes I felt like DJ Reed was better, but he's another guy to keep an eye on, especially since this defense, even though we got a new defensive-minded head coach, this defense did not play well last year, and then especially after Robert Saleh got fired, and now we are losing a lot of pieces. We lost our leader in C.J. Mosley, so we lost a lot of pieces. And so it's just going to be interesting to see, does Sauce Gardner fit in this defense? What does this defense do? And so, yeah, just keeping an eye on him as well, because I'll be interested to see what happens there. And, right, that's what we're doing this year. We're not expecting to make the playoffs or win a bunch of games. I think we need to evaluate our own roster because, we're not trying to win the Super Bowl. That's not that's not the way this team is built right now, which is maybe not the worst thing in the world because we were trying to win a Super Bowl the past couple of years, and that did not go so well. So we need to reevaluate the roster. That's, I think, the biggest thing to look for in this season. Reevaluate the roster, and then dish out the smart contracts as well. You don't want to dish out a bunch of contracts and then get stuck with them. But we're going to have a lot of guys who want a lot of money. So it's a hard balance, and I don't envy the Jets front office job. And lastly, another thing to keep an eye on is Aaron Glenn, the Jets' new head coach. He's going into his first year with the Jets, and what is he going to do? And the expectations are pretty low on him, so that's good. Robert Saleh has had a high expectation for the past 2 years. He really didn't meet them, and so therefore he got fired in the middle of the year. Aaron Glenn does not have that high of expectations, and so we're going to have to see what he can do with not that talented of a roster as well. One of the biggest things that Robert Saleh got a lot of flack for were flags and penalties. Is Aaron Glenn going to be able to control his guys or not? That's what I'm looking for. I'm not expecting him to win a bunch of games. I'm not expecting him to have his team pose a bunch of monster numbers. That's not the way this team is built. It's, are his guys disciplined? Is he good with like clock management, stuff like that? Does he make smart plays or does he call stupid plays? And that's what we're looking for. We're not expecting him to win a bunch of games. I'm expecting him to do smart things, and then there's something to build off of there. Or maybe I'm giving him a little too little credit. The Lions, what were they really good at last year? They had a bunch of injuries, and then they were really good at next man up, next man up. They were playing playoff games with third stringers on defense, especially. So maybe that's also another thing to look at. Are there a bunch of guys who I couldn't tell you their name right now who are going to become, nothing great, but solid starters or solid backups? That's another thing to look at because that's what the Lions were really good at last year, and obviously he comes from there. So those were just some things to think about. I didn't really talk about our off-season moves because there's not a whole lot to get excited about, and that's okay, right? How many years can a team be the off-season champions, right? And they don't do anything, right? The Bears are the off-season champions. They didn't do anything. We were the off-season champions when we got Aaron Rodgers. We didn't really do anything after that, right? So I don't hate not being the off-season champions or having a flashy off-season. I don't hate that at all. We're having small steps to hopefully build a bigger team. So those are my thoughts. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.